Well, good morning. It's Wednesday morning, and we're reading from Colossians 1 9 through 14. And so, from the day we heard, we have not ceased to pray for you, asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of His will in all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so as to walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to Him, bearing fruit in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God, being strengthened with all power, according to His glorious might, for all endurance and patience with joy, giving thanks to the Father, who has qualified you to share in the inheritance of the saints in light. He has delivered us from the domain of darkness and transferred us to the kingdom of His beloved Son, in whom we have redemption and the forgiveness of sins. Well, there's a very long sentence, and I suspect that in Greek it's even longer, but if you could follow all those pieces, Paul is saying that we're praying for you and asking, and what's he asking? That you'll be filled with the knowledge of His will, God's will, in all wisdom and understanding, so that you can walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, bearing fruit in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God, being strengthened with all His power, for all endurance and patience with joy, and giving thanks to the Father who has qualified you to share in the inheritance of the saints in light. So a huge number of things there that Paul says we are praying for you about. And each one of those things would be a sermon or two, so quite a rich passage, very compressed and compact. He's delivered us from the domain of darkness and moved us from darkness to light, to the kingdom of light. Now that's a powerful ancient image, darkness and light. It's kind of a Gnostic image, but Paul uses it all the time to say this is what's happened to Christian believers. We've been moved out of the darkness of paganism into the light of faith in Christ. And he sees that as a real move that we make from darkness to light. So what do we learn here? I think what we could do is look at these verses as a kind of an outline for our spiritual life. Are we increasing in wisdom and understanding? Are we walking in a manner worthy of God? Are we bearing fruit in every good work? Are we being strengthened in our walk with all power? Are we being given endurance and patience and joy? Are we giving thanks to God who's led us into the light? All those things are things that we can be doing and allowing the Spirit to do in us and work in us as we move forward. And so, you take those verses and use them as a kind of chart, if you will, of progress, of how you're doing spiritually. Someone said once, that the problem with a lot of Protestant theology is that we assume, well, God is going to make us perfect when we die. And so we're going to move from relative imperfection, very imperfect, to poof, we're perfect. And they don't see it as happening that way. Someone put it, I think it was something like, how do you expect to live with Jesus if you don't know Him in this life? If you don't know God and Jesus very well, then all of a sudden you're in their presence. You're going to be pretty far back in the crowd. We grow spiritually in this life so that when we get to the fulfillment of all things, we know who's there and we know what's going on and we know who Jesus is. And that's something important. So spiritual life is not just something for weirdos or something that's optional. It's something that all of us live. And if we're living it according to this outline that Paul lays out for us in Colossians, I think we'll see we'll see what it means for us, and that's a good thing. So ponder that today. Take some time on this rainy day to read that again. I hope that your day goes well, and we will see you tomorrow morning.